In this video we're going to take a look at how to install an NVMe SSD, and in this particular case we have a Western Digital Black SN850 NVMe. Can't pretty much get any better than this at the moment. So 1 terabyte generation 4 SSD NVMe. The read and write speeds are ridiculous. We're not going to be testing that today. You can see quite a lot of YouTube videos on that already. The purpose of this is just to show you how to get these installed. Now we're going to be installing this on an Asus ROG Crosshair 8 Hero Wi-Fi ATX AM4 motherboard. So if you have this motherboard or similar, or NVMe in general, should be the same process, just the layout may be a little bit different. So let's get started with this. So what we'll first do is we'll unbox this brand new Western Digital. And you can quickly see, you know, it's just basic essentially. It's very small. Now the parts that we're interested in is both ends here. So we have the bit where the screw will screw down into the motherboard, and then we have the bit where this will actually go into the slot on the motherboard. Now it's going to be a little bit difficult to have the camera show you where this is going while I'm installing it, but if I just kind of zoom in here, you should be able to see right there is where the plate is for the NVMe, and right there is where where we're going to install this NVMe now. Okay, so this is probably the best angle we're going to get. I've got the liquid cooler here in the way. What we're just going to do for this is just lift it up there so that we can see right here is the plate that we're going to take off. If I just start by unscrewing this. And on this particular motherboard, I don't know if you can see, but once you take the, because there is a separate heat sink on this as well, so you'll take off screw 1, screw 2, and then there's a screw actually behind the heat sink faceplate for the NVMe to come off. So because we've already got our graphics card in, we need to pull that out. I'll take that out one moment while we can take the faceplate off, get that NVMe in, and then put that back on. So now with the GPU off, we can see this faceplate here where the fan is. We just need to take this one off as well. And that should do. Don't need to take it all the way off. It is a bit annoying though that you have to take the GPU off and you can't just kind of get that in there because of this extra screw underneath, but it is what it is. So let's take this first plate off. And now this should just lift straight off like that. Done. And now what you should be able to see here, I'll just lift this up, is this is where the gold pins are going to go for the NVMe there, and then we'll screw it down as well so that it's fixed into place. So we'll do that now. Just going to slot this now into our slot, and when you're doing this it shouldn't be difficult it should just pretty much slide in. You want to make sure where you can see gap there on the pins, you want to make sure that that lines up with your slot. And as I say, you shouldn't need to force this in, it should just slide in like that. You see, no force at all. And then all we need to do now is, you see where it's lifted up, we just need to screw down into there. Now you don't get a screw with this, so you want to make sure that you've got a screw that's suitable handy to actually screw this down. Now with the screws, not all motherboards may require an extra screw. You may be able to, so on this one our face plate will screw back into there and secure that down like that. So what we'll do is we'll add that back on so you can see now. You don't need to force your screws too tight, you just need to make sure that they're in so that they're not going to come out. And now for the GPU, we're going to put this big GeForce RTX 380 Ti back in now. So in order to do that, what we need to do is we need to make sure that the latch, if you like, is down, because our GPU is going to slot into that. And I'm just going to be so careful with this because I've still got it plugged in. And then this just needs to sit in there. And again, it shouldn't require a lot of force for it to go in. You should just be able to slowly ease it in like that. And so you can see now that that's in now. The little latch at the back has gone in, and what we need to do now is we need to screw this back on here. And that's it, that's your NVMe installed. And especially if you're using this motherboard, that's the process of how you do it, especially if you've already got your graphics card in there and everything set up. Other motherboards will vary, but just make sure that you are looking for the NVMe slots and you place them in correctly. So we can see now once the NVMe is installed and we've powered up the system again, we can see that we've got the SSD disk here identified by its name. Obviously nothing's in use yet because I've not started using it, but it's here, so we can now make use of this disk how we choose to do so.